It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, some inspirational words there from Mr. Chris Burgess. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. But another interesting story. For the first time in history, the wreck of a slaving ship that went down with slaves aboard has been discovered, where it has been lying just 60 meters off of Camps Bay in Cape Town for 221 years now. Now, the discovery of the São José slave wreck will be announced later on this morning in Cape Town by the Smithsonian Museum's National Museum of African American History and Culture, the Iziko Museums, and the Slave Wrecks Project. And joining us in studio to shed some light on the experience is Junior Maritime Archaeologist Jake Harding, who's been part of the Slave Wreck Project dive team in the discovery process of this wreck. Thank you very much for being with us this morning.
Hi.
And I understand this has been a point of interest for maritime archaeologists for quite a long time, in the sense that in 2012 already, a diver found iron blocks in the same kind of region, and these contributed greatly to this discovery right now. Why were these iron blocks so important?
The iron blocks are ballast, which is a form of weighting down the ship. Because of the nature of ships' hulls and the shapes, if you have a very high center of gravity, it's going to be extremely unstable. So by using iron blocks, it allows the crew to lower the center of gravity and creates more stability. Iron blocks specifically like these are very significant because they were only used after a certain date. After 1880, these became quite common because it has a known volume and a known weight, and that allows them to adjust the trim of the vessel. They're also very significant in indicating a slave ship because they're so dense. You can use anything heavy for ballast. They've used wood, stone, different scrap metal, things like that. Something this dense allows more room for cargo, people.
Oh, wow. And of course, the very fascinating history behind this shipwreck and the fact that it's been there for 221 years now. Take us back to the day that you were down there with the team. What were some of the interesting things that you found?
So I've dived several times on the site. We've been diving for quite a while. Because it's such a rough site, there's very little timber that has survived. There is still some, but the majority of the stuff that you find on site is the heavier elements. So you find things like the ballast blocks. You find metal remains like shackles. There's a pile of cannon which were found on the site, which is also very indicative of showing that it is the São José, because those types of guns wouldn't have been found on any of the other ships that were believed to be in that area.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of the importance to cultural heritage that this represents, how would you put that into perspective?
The São José, slave history is global history. Slavery happened everywhere for a huge amount of time. This being the first slave ship that went down with people aboard means it can be a lodestone to memory. It can act as almost a lightning rod. People can see this and can imagine and can relate to the slave history. For South Africa specifically, and Cape Town, with such a large Cape Colored community, which has an integrated slave heritage, when the São José went down, many of the slaves were saved, but unfortunately they were then sold off here at Cape Town. And that means that their ancestors are still alive today in Cape Town. And so this is a very tangible piece of their heritage. But also, as I said, as a slave ship, it's heritage for everybody.
And just very quickly, I understand that you're doing something very special to commemorate this discovery.
Yes.
What are you going to be doing?
We are going to be taking a representative from South Africa, from America, and specifically from Mozambique. And we're going to be going down to the beach with a jar of earth that was taken from Mozambique, from the area where the slaves embarked on the ship. And we're going to be putting that into the ocean near the slave site, so that the memory of the slaves can be repatriated with their home, as it were.
Well, Jake, thank you very much for being with us this morning and shedding some light on this very, very interesting discovery indeed.
Thanks for talking.
And of course, you are welcome to join in the memorial service that will be taking place just off of Camps Bay a little bit later on today. But let's find out what else is coming up on your Feel Good Breakfast show with Beatty.